Morning team. You'll have to excuse my dishevelled appearance. I've only really just woken up, but I wanted to do this video as fresh as possible because I've only just seen this for myself right here, and I just wanted to give my initial reaction. So I've only really just woken up. I got my meditation done and then opened up my laptop to check my YouTube analytics and production value. We are there. We did it. We did it, team. So I just wanted to say a huge thank you if you have taken the time to hit that subscribe button, if you've spent any time and attention listening to any of my videos or just listening to anything that I have to say. I can't tell you how much it means to me. I went through just how much it means to me in my 777 subscribers video, and so I didn't want to just rehash the same stuff. I didn't want to just recycle that same kind of message. I've already been over why it means just so much to me. So with this video, just wanted to say a nice simple thank you. What a milestone. I just was not expecting to be at this stage at this time, so this is massive for me. And as I was opening the laptop and saw that, this is what struck me. This is what struck me, because this right here, okay, this bed with a cheap old microphone and a tripod that I literally bought from a charity shop, this is my studio. Right. This is my studio. This is what I've been working with. This is what I mean when I say we can't blame the tools. It's a very famous phrase by Marshall McLuhan, who said we can't blame our tools. If we're not where we want to be in life, it's not because you don't have the fancy equipment, because damn. Okay. And that microphone was like 40 quid, and I've recorded 20 podcast episodes with it and like 30 guided meditations. It's not about the tools that you're working with. It's about what you do with it. It's about taking what you have and doing the best you can with what you have. So with this video, I just wanted to talk on a few of the motivational principles that will get you to where you want to be in life. And I know I've been speaking so much more on the sort of the spiritual stuff recently, and that's probably the direction that I'll be going in. But also just bringing things into the relative level as well. We can't neglect the relative level when we are on the spiritual path. And so if we have a goal that we're trying to achieve, and I got to thinking about this, what are the main principles that have stood the test of time throughout my whole journey? Because throughout my journey, there have been many ups and downs, there have been many peaks and troughs. Excuse me one moment. Like I said, I've only just woken up. That horrible, like, glue mouth there. And so, I wanted to speak on 3 principles, and the first one is what has held the most true throughout my whole journey, whether it's the weight loss, so I went from obese to a healthy weight, whether it's the alcohol recovery, so I was severely addicted to alcohol and went into full recovery, whether it's the recovery from anxiety and depression, whether it's the spiritual awakening, whatever, all these aspects of my journey, I have incorporated and integrated, fully embodied these motivational principles. Because so much of finding happiness in the relative world is about the mindset. We really need to create and sustain a mindset that is productive, proactive, positive. Because without that, How do you expect to be happy? Now, the first principle here is about getting back up once you've been knocked down, because Lord knows this happens in life. It's not plain sailing. Excuse me. It's just not plain sailing. Life just isn't. I wish it was, but it's not. And I don't make the rules, okay? If I could make the rules, I would make it so that it is plain sailing all the time. Life just does not work like that. When I first started with my transformation, with my journey, I was watching all of these motivational speakers. Eric Thomas, Les Brown, C.T. Fletcher, Tony Robbins, David Goggins, Zig Ziglar, the classics. And I watched many different sources. And a lot of motivational speakers, each one has a slightly different message, and it leads you to thinking, well, which one do I go with then? But instead of settling on just one motivational speaker, what I thought I would do instead is look for the similarities in their message and look for the things that they all agree on. And one of the things that they all agree on, they all speak about this, and as they all speak about this, there must be something to it. There must be something to it. If they're all mentioning the same thing, that one thing must be true. And they all speak about this concept of getting back up if you've been knocked down. And that's exactly where I've been over the last 6 months, as I've been trying desperately. I wish I could show you the camera that I'm working with as well right here, because that's not up to much either. Over the last, say, 6 months, I was knocked down to, in a very severe way that I just was not. I wasn't expecting. Well, you're never expecting the knockdown, are you? It's always the hit that catches you on the blind side that knocks you out. It's not the punch that you see coming that knocks you out. It's the punch you didn't see coming. And I got knocked quite low. But because I've been practicing this mindset and rehearsing and embodying and integrating the motivational principles, this is how I know it's not just mindless words. There must be some real quality juice to this motivation, because it kicked in right when I needed it the most. And there is a power in having a mindset that if your back's against the wall, when the chips are down, you always come out swinging. Always. If you think, when is an animal at its most dangerous? When is an animal, a wild animal, could be anything, a wolf, a tiger, whatever it is, when's it going to be the most fierce? When is it going to be the most dangerous? When its back is against the wall, when it's cornered. Because when it's cornered, it has no option but to fight. And when it's hungry. When it's hungry, it starts putting a lot of energy and aggression into pursuing and finding some food. And it holds very true that when you are knocked down, so perhaps if you're on the fitness journey, the weight loss journey, you have to be prepared for what are you going to do when you step on the scales and you haven't got the result that you wanted, even though all week you have followed the diet plan, you have hit your training, you have done your cardio, you have done the training, you did it. You did everything, every single thing that was on the plan to do. And you step on the scales and it wasn't the right result. Watch what your mind does at that time. Maybe you're in addiction recovery and you go back to the substance or the behaviour that you're trying to quit. This happened to me. There was a period of about a year where I just couldn't get it. I was trying. This is before I found AVRT. And I would go long periods of sobriety and then I'd go back to drinking alcohol again. when you're picking up the pieces in the aftermath, it is rough. It is rough. It is hard work to pick yourself back up when you've been knocked down like that. But if you don't learn how to do that, you're never going to get anywhere. Because whenever you set about to do anything difficult in life, you'll have a period of time where it goes well, and then something will happen that will pull the rug from underneath you. And sometimes it's just rug pull after rug pull after rug pull. And there's just... that's when your resilience has to kick in. Your endurance has to kick in. Because it's coming. You're going to get the knocks, you're going to get the setbacks and the defeats. And over the last 6 months, and really over the last sort of 2-3 years, there has been rug pull after rug pull, but that mindset always stays strong. If 6 months ago, when the back injury got really bad, if I said that's it, I'm just done, I'm fed up, I've had enough of all this, I just give up on my whole life, there's just no point trying anymore. What if I just went back to alcohol? So forget it, I tried my best. What if I got into that very petty mindset of, oh, I tried my best and nothing ever works out for me, why am I so unlucky, why have I... If I'd gone into that mindset and just gone back to drinking, back to bad habits, I wouldn't be where I am in this moment today, which is looking at the laptop and seeing a huge milestone. Because yes, my back injury knocked me out of the fitness stuff, which is what I loved doing, but I thought, well, hang on, I'm still conscious and breathing, so what about that meditation stuff that I talk about? And then it's like, okay, so there's always another avenue. When you practice that, that is when you find the universe starts to help you out a bit. Because people often ask the universe for things, or ask God for things. And it's not how it works. That's not how it works, unfortunately. You can't just be like laying in bed and like ask the universe for a sports car, or your perfect spouse, your perfect partner, or your perfect job. That's not how you ask. You ask by working towards it, and there will be many setbacks along the way, and we can frame that in so many different ways. We could frame that in saying, these tests are sent to you to test, do you really want this thing? Are you sure this is what you want? And maybe the test is there to strengthen you, so that when you do get that thing that you want, one, you appreciate it a lot more, and two, you're strong enough and have the resources to cope with and handle the success that you've got. Maybe you're not meant to meet your partner until you're in a space, you're mature enough that you can handle that relationship. Maybe your dream job isn't your dream job, because if you had it right now, it would be too much. The pressure would be too much. And you don't want a sports car. You just don't. That's why you're not getting that one. That's why that isn't working. That manifestation isn't working. Anyway, resilience is all about getting back up if you've been knocked down. And don't blame the tools. If you have been knocked down, you can get yourself back up. Because if you quit, nothing is going to happen. And the universe is not going to be on your side in helping you with your life circumstances. The second point that I wanted to make is perhaps one that I don't hear as often, but it's something that I've noticed as a pattern myself that is very true, which is don't celebrate too early. Just don't. I don't know why this happens, but it's definitely a phenomena that has repeated often enough that I know this is something to watch out for. have you seen these compilations on YouTube of people who are about to finish a race? Either they're about to finish with their cycling race or running race or whatever, and they're about 10 meters from the finish line and they start celebrating. You ever seen that? And they go, yes, I made it. And then somebody comes whizzing past them, shoots over the finish line. Or they're on their bike, about to finish, they go, yes, and then they fall off their bike. Or they start celebrating and then they trip over. You ever seen that? Yeah, I'd recommend checking that compilation out, people celebrating too soon. Because I've found it very true as well. And if you ever find in life that you're trying to work towards a goal, you're trying to achieve something, and you start realizing that there's a, this is going to happen. You can see the finish line now. You've actually made enough ground, and the old folklore saying says, don't count your chickens before they hatch, which means, the chickens laid all these eggs, but don't assume they're all going to hatch because some won't. And it's so true. It's so true. It may be in a job or something, in a career. You think you're a shoo-in for the job. Like, a position becomes available. You're the most qualified. You've got the most experience. You've got all the connections. You're like, yeah, this is going to be me. And inside you start going, yeah. And you start planning. What am I going to do with that pay rise? You start thinking, yeah, this is going to be a whole new era for me. This is going to be fantastic. This is me now. I'm definitely going to get this, because the other people that are going for it, they're not up to scratch. They're not up to par. They don't have the experience. They don't have the qualifications. There's no way. It's got to be me. But that's counting your chickens before they hatch, because, man, the amount of times... Sorry, I need to have yet another sip. This time we're going coffee. Let's celebrate. UK muscle. So, see, maybe I can celebrate, because now we're past that 1,000 subscriber mark. Because when I got to 950 subscribers, I could feel that feeling inside of, we're going to make it. Never ever go to that. Nothing is certain. Nothing is certain. And this is such a powerful principle to understand in motivation. Don't celebrate too soon. And it's about, you've got to go through the line. Through the line, not to the line. The finish line isn't the finish line. It's not. The finish line is on the other side of the finish line. That is absolutely crucial. And it was the same as well in my weight loss journey as well. I found I could be losing kilo consistently for 6 weeks. I've lost 1 kilo every single week for 6 weeks. And I start thinking, I've got it. I've got this whole thing nailed. I've got this overconfidence. Overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer. And I get overconfident and get complacent. And when you get complacent, that's when these little extra snacks start coming in. You start skipping the cardio, you start skipping the workout because you go, wow, it's, I know how to do this now. And then you step on the scales and you haven't lost that kilo that week. And actually, you've put a kilo on. And you go, Now you could get very disheartened there. But actually, if you look back at actually what happened there, you realise, that's because I got complacent. So learning not to celebrate too soon. I've just noticed that as whenever you're trying to achieve something, don't stop until it's achieved. It has to be achieved before you can start to ease off the throttle. Because if you ease off the throttle too soon, something is going to come along and, again, pull that rug from underneath you. Again, it's a lesson. It's a lesson learned. Because it's pride, really. And pride comes before a fall. Anytime I've been overconfident, anytime I've bragged about anything, anytime I've been oh yeah, like, you know, check me out, I've got this thing. It's like, no, you've got to be humble and let the results do the talking. And whatever people want to make of it is whatever people want to make of it. Because as well, I think people see when you're overconfident. People can see when you're arrogant. People can see your arrogance. Arrogance kind of shines, doesn't, like a beacon. You can just tell when somebody's overconfident, and nobody wants to help that person. Because everyone thinks, yeah, well, you wait, buddy. So that's the second motivational principle that I've just found very true. So firstly, don't blame the tools and get back up. If you've been knocked down, don't worry about the external circumstances, just get yourself back up. Secondly, when you're aiming towards a goal, you're trying to achieve something, don't celebrate too soon. You keep going until the task is done. Press on until the bitter end. Things slow down towards the end of a goal as well. That's what I've noticed. It becomes a grind. You see the finish line, and that last 100 meters, you could be running a marathon, but that last 100 meters is harder than the last 26 miles. It's weird. It's weird. Time dilation. Things just start to slow down as you get towards that finish line. We are going with yet another sip of coffee. Get it in. Yummy. So, that's the first two right there. Don't blame the tools. Get up if you've been knocked down. Don't celebrate too soon. And thirdly, I thought I'd share my secret. As it's 1,000 subscriber special, I thought I'd give you the secret. This is the secret. This is the magic key to all success. You want to know what it is? It's one word. It's a single word. This is the principle that I have found to be the magic key that turns the door no matter what the situation or circumstance is. This is how you turn lead into gold. The secret, the magic key, is transmutation. What is transmutation? Turning lead into gold. Transmutation is taking something and turning it into something else. And it's a key, a crucial principle that I never see discussed. Everyone wants to talk about manifestation, everybody wants to talk about affirmations, everybody wants to talk about hard work and grit and grind and determination and everything like that. And sometimes I sit back and I think, everyone's missing a trick right here. Because the real key is transmutation. Now what do I mean by that? The power of narrative, the power of story is huge when it comes to human psychology. And the way you're perceiving the story of your circumstances will massively affect your mood, your self-esteem, your self-respect, your self-worth, your confidence, all of these good things that people always seek to improve. The way you perceive yourself, the way you perceive the world. A lot of it comes down to the narrative that we ascribe to the situation. Now, if you take the story of the person who has a mental breakdown, becomes an alcoholic, that's a depressing story. And if you follow that narrative, you follow that story, you will be depressed. There's no coming back from that. because that's the story you've told yourself. I'm a failure. I messed up. I screwed up. I'm weak. I'll never do it. I'll never get it. Because this is my story. Because the evidence here shows me that I'm no good. Right. That story it's not inspiring to you, and it's not inspiring to anyone else. But what about this story? What about the story of somebody who was broken down and picked themselves back up, and one day said, enough is enough, no more. This isn't going to be me. I'm not going out like this. I'm not going down like this. What about the story about the person, the underdog? The underdog. We all love that story. The underdog. Somebody who, yes, it's like, yes, I've had the knocks. Yes, I've had the setbacks. Yes, it's been tough. Yes, it's been hard. But you know what? I'm still standing. I still have my chin up. I'm still breathing. I'm still looking towards the stars. Oscar Wilde said, "We are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars." Keep looking towards the stars, and you can change the narrative in your head. This is the key. This is the transmutation. This is what I mean by turning lead into gold, because there's so much about my story that if I was focused on the negative, there'd be no way, I'd have ever picked myself back up. No way. We have this thing called negativity bias, which is where we only tend to focus on the negatives. But you have to overcome that inherent urge in your mind. Because the key is to take all of the... You can't... If you want to be happy in life, and I would highly recommend that as a goal, you have to accept the negative circumstances that you've had and just take them as read. But what are you going to do with them? Because if you just complain about them or say that other people need to fix them for you, you're never going to get anywhere. You will be miserable because you have no power, you have no efficacy if you do that. But if you take everything that's happened to you and you learn from it, that's the key. You learn from what happened. You take your knocks, you take the hits, you take the punch, you take the attack, you take that and you learn from it. If you were defending a castle and it's always one particular wall that keeps getting knocked down, that's the part of the castle that you need to work on. That's it. You can't say, well, the enemy's just too strong. It's like, no, let's fix that part of the castle. To transmute is to take the darkness, the inevitable darkness, the inevitable pain, the inevitable suffering, and learn from it. That's what it's there for. That's what it's there for. Pain is communication. Pain teaches you something. If you think about when you have a pain in your body, why is it there? Why do we have pain in the body? It's because you need to pay attention to it. If you have a pain in your body that it stays there and is getting worse, you need to go see a doctor about that. Pain is an intelligent signal that tells you something needs attention. And in life, when we have this pain, maybe it's whatever that, I don't need to go into all the different types of pain. You know it. If you're watching my channel, you know pain. You know pain. It's an intelligent signal that something needs attention. So whatever has happened for you over the years, there is a wealth of lessons to be learned. You're sitting on a gold mine. You don't even realise. People want to complain about their pain, but it's like life has given you this immeasurable opportunity to learn. And when you learn that secret, suddenly all of this darkness that you thought was holding you back suddenly becomes fuel for the fire. Lead to gold. We could use the analogy of oil. Oil is the most valuable substance on earth. And what is it? What is it made of? It's made of ancient life that has died, and pressure, time, and is it heat? No, is that diamonds? Pressure and time pushed that juice down into the soil, deep into the earth. And what oil is the condensed life matter from ancient times that has condensed into this thick, viscous fluid. And this fluid oil is pretty poisonous and pretty dangerous substance, very flammable. It's powerful stuff. That's how you can see your pain, your suffering thus far. All of your negative life experiences is ancient life matter. Right? Ancient life matter, material, dense material that has condensed. Over time, it's been buried to the sands of time. It's been buried deep, buried. And it's this reservoir of dense, energetic material. And it needs some refining. Oil needs refining before it becomes petrol. But that's what you need to do. That's what the analysis is. When you analyze your past, when you learn from your own mistakes, when you learn from other people's behavior. Yes, other people can be awful. Other people's behavior towards you is sickening at times. And your own behavior is sickening at times. But don't be destroyed by that. Learn from that. Because all of it has become oil. We can transmute that oil into fuel. We can transmute all of that pain, all of that negativity, all of that suffering. We transmute it into gold. Transmute it into gold. And here, that's my secret. That is my secret. That's it. That's all I do. I take my experiences. For some reason, I have the inclination and the natural the inclination and the natural propensity towards communicating, teaching and coaching. So I take all of my experiences, I find a way to learn a lesson from it myself, and then I think of a way to package it into a lesson that might help somebody else. Right there is transmutation. I transmute the pain of the past, which at times has been horrific, terrible, full of sorrow, grief, despair, all of the negative aspects of human existence. We're looking at addiction, we're looking at gluttony, we're looking at selfishness, we're looking at arrogance, we're looking at hedonism, pleasure seeking, we're looking at some of the worst aspects of human existence. But I chose not to be swallowed up by it, but instead to learn from it, dig myself out of the pit, move on, and then find a way to take all of that and transmute it into something positive. That is the only sane way to approach life, in my humble opinion. The only sane way to approach the darkness is to learn from it. Once we learn from it, if everybody did that, if we took all of the lessons of the past, learned from it, changed our own behavior, transmuted it into a lesson for the future generation, That's how we're going to make this world a much nicer place to live. 1,000 subscribers. That is... You see, I saw that as well, and I thought I'd be like, way, and just go like running around and go buy a nice birthday cake or something and celebrate. But actually, that's not the feeling. You want to know the feeling that I got when I saw that 1,000 subscribers? I thought, I've got a responsibility now. I've got work to do. I've got serious work to do. Because there must be something in this thing that I do here. There must be something in it. I'm trying not to say that from a place of arrogance. I'm trying to say that from a place of, there aren't many people, I see anyway, who recover from obesity, who go from obese to healthy weight. It's quite rare. It's also quite rare for people to recover from alcoholism. It's quite rare for people to recover from anxiety and depression, and it's quite rare for people to have spiritual awakenings. That's rare. And it's even rarer then that people who do have those experiences, that those people then have the inclination and the interest in talking about it, and also have some natural proclivity trait with communication and vocabulary. So when I take all of that together and I look at all of that, I think I've got a responsibility to do this well, to do it right. I have a responsibility to do this right, and to not fall into ego traps, but instead to just, if I can just be a humble teacher, that's my aim. And I'm not always going to get it right. I'm not always going to get it right. I'm going to try. I'm not always going to get it right. I'm going to make many missteps along the way, but I will keep trying. Thank you so much. No matter what's going on for you, no matter what your situation is, no matter what your circumstance, whatever it is for you, whatever your goals are, whatever your aspirations and dreams are, no matter how bad it's been, no matter how bad it is or how bad it's going to get, you still have time. That's everything I have for you today. Take care, be well, and stay present.